Chapter 71. An uncommon father who doted on his child very much. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 71. An uncommon father who doted on his child very much. Gu Tianfeng directly gave up, so the raw gemstone he chose was meaningless. Qian Duo then declared that Qin Haodong had won the game. This also meant that Feng Tianda did not get Dumao and Ermao, but lost 30 million yuan. Unexpectedly, Zhou Cuizui did not cry and or made a scene this time. She just cast a stern glance at Qin Haodong and left. Feng Tianda said nothing and left after her immediately. At this time, a middle-aged man in a famous brand suit came to Qin Haodong and said, "Young man, I am the general manager of Desheng Jewelry. Will you sell this Ice King Green? I'm willing to bid 100 million yuan for it." The crowd clamored again. Qian Duo just said that the Ice King Green Jade was worth 100 million yuan. Now someone even paid directly to buy it. This gave many people a complex mood, mixing envy, jealousy and hatred. Someone said, "Young boy, sell it. It's 100 million yuan. That's right. You used thousands of yuan to purchase the stone and now it could be sold for 100 million yuan. You can't earn money so fast even by stealing." The little girl was enjoying playing with the Ice King Green. When she heard someone wanted to buy it, she quickly cried out, "Not for sale. Not for sale. This is my ball." Qin Haodong smiled and said to the middle-aged man, "Sorry, my daughter likes it. So let her play with it. I haven't planned to sell it yet." After he said this, many people felt their hearts collapse. Although they had seen doting parents, they had never seen a father who spoiled his child in this way. Even the richest man in the world would not give the Ice King Green, which was worth 100 million yuan, to his child to play as a glass ball. Well. The middle-aged person was also confused. He calmed down for a while and asked, "Young man, do you want to think about it again? If the price is not appropriate, we can discuss about it." "No, money cannot make my daughter happy. Since she likes to play with this glass ball, just let her play with it." The middle-aged man felt depressed. What the hell is going on? Is this a glass ball? This is a Ice King Green Jade, which is worth more than 100 million yuan. Although many people didn't agree with Qin Haodong, the Ice King Green Jade belonged to him. He could do whatever he wanted. It didn't matter to them even he broke it. When everyone felt things were unfair, the little girl's hand slipped, and the King Green Jadeite really slipped down. It all happened suddenly, even Qin Haodong was too late to react. There was an exclamation in the crowd. People also shouted in their minds, 100 million yuan. Gone. He is a total wastrel. A total wastrel. Suddenly, a white light flashed. Dumao jumped over and opened his mouth to catch the slipping Ice King Green Jade. Then he laid down on Qin Haodong's leg with a boastful expression. The little girl giggled and said, "Funny. It's funny. Dumao, you're great. Good job. When we go back, I will give you bones as a reward." Qin Haodong patted Dumao's head, and took the wet Ice King Green Jade from his mouth. He wiped it clean and threw it back to the little girl. "Oh, my God." He gave it back to the girl. Isn't he really afraid of breaking it? Doesn't he really care about 100 million yuan? Looking at Qin Haodong's casual expression, if these people didn't just see the whole process of getting this jadeite, they would really think that this was just a glass ball rather an Ice King Green Jade which was worth more than 100 million yuan. At this time, the middle-aged man saw Dumao and Ermao. Qin Haodong was able to win 3 games in a row, and finally got an Ice King Green Jade. All he relied on were these 2 dogs. Since the Ice King Green was not for sale, I can buy his dogs. As long as I have these 2 dogs that can pick the jadeite stones, I can find any kind of jades in the future. These are not dogs, they are money trees, treasure bowls, and lucky cats. Thinking of this, he said with excitement. Little brother, do you sell these 2 dogs? If you do, I will never make a counteroffer. His words reminded others, and some people cried. Yeah, little brother, you can sell me 1 dog, I would pay you 50 million yuan. Little brother, I could pay 60 million. 70 million. Qin Haodong's face was crying and laughing. Originally, he just wanted to use the Dumao and Ermao as a cover. Up to conceal his ability to see and find the jade stone. He didn't expect that the value of these 2 small dogs would soar so fast. The price of them was over 100 million in the blink of an eye. Dumao and Ermao are my friends. Not for sale. Not for sale. The little girl struggled to protest. Qin Haodong said loudly. You heard it, my daughter said they are not for sale, no matter how much money you pay. The crowd felt regret because of his words, many of them shook their heads again and again. This young man spoiled his child too much. He takes the Ice King Green Jade as a glass ball, and holds 2 dogs which are worth more than 100 million yuan. Is this really good? As all matters were done, Qin Haodong bade farewell to Qian Duo and left the stone exhibition with Nalan Wushuang. Today's aim had been successfully completed. Although some of the stones in the D-zone had not been swept away, the high-quality stones had been discovered through these gambling games, and there was nothing good enough about the rest. At this point, the high-quality stones of Feng's family exhibition had entered Qin Haodong's warehouse, and it was difficult to find the stones with a premium of more than 3 times. After getting on the bus, Nalan Wushuang said, Haodong, that ugly woman just walked away quietly. I always felt that it was not normal. Do you think she'll make trouble for us? Qin Haodong said with a smile, this is for sure. You should know who we are now. We have 130 million yuan in cash and a Ice King Green Jade with a value of over 100 million yuan. Plus 2 dogs that can hunt for treasure. Since Feng Tianda dares not provoke your Nalan family, the Jade Gang will. I guess they will find us soon. What should we do? Would you like me to find some guys to help? Nalan Wushuang said with a little nervousness. Don't worry, I have arranged it. As long as they dare to come, I will give them a surprise. Then Qin Haodong started the car and drove forward steadily. The Feng family, back in a secret room. Zhou Cuizui said to the one-eyed dragon Meng Gang, you go and rob that guy with your men right now. You must bring those 2 dogs back to me, as well as the Ice King Green Jade. Feng Tianda said quickly. My dear, don't be impulsive. That guy is a nobody, but the woman next to him is the daughter of the Nalan family. We can't afford to offend the Nalan family. You are good. For nothing. Zhou Cuizui glanced at him and said. Why are you so scared? If worst comes to worst, you can go to Burma with me. No matter how powerful the Nalan family is, can they beat us, the Jade Gang? Feng Tianda was speechless for a while. This woman was really ignorant. The Nalan family had deep roots which were in a higher level compared to the Jade Gang. Since the Feng family now needed to rely on the Jade Gang, he did not dare to say too much. Zhou Cuizui turned her head and said to Meng Gang, go ahead. Don't let that guy run away, and remember not to hurt the 2 dogs. Don't worry, Miss Zhou, we have so many brothers in the Jade Gang. It is very easy to bash that little young guy. Then Meng Gang took his men and hurried away. Feng Tianda sighed, but he had no way to stop Zhou Cuizui. Qin Haodong drove out of the convention center. The little girl was tired after a day's march. After getting on the bus, she fell asleep in Nalan Wushuang's arms. Even Damao and Ermao were napping in the back seat of the car. Usually, there was nothing special. But after the little girl fell asleep, she habitually placed a small, chubby hand on Nalan Wushuang's chest. It was not surprising, she touched Lin Momo's out of habit when she slept. But now she had changed her objective to Nalan Wushuang. After all, Nalan Wushuang was different from Lin Momo. She had not yet married, nor had she ever had a child. Her chest had not been touched by others except herself. As the little girl touched her, her cheeks immediately turned red. She glanced at Qin Haodong and found that he was driving intently, and did not notice her situation. Then she quietly grabbed the little girl's hand and took it down. Although the little girl was asleep, she was still very stubborn. She struggled and pulled her hand away, to put it on Nalan Wushuang's chest again. She even grasped it from time to time. Nalan Wushuang tried to stop her a few times and did not succeed. In the end, she could only let the little girl do it. It seemed that Qin Haodong did not pay attention to this. In fact, all this was clearly seen by him. He inadvertently smiled, and at the same time, he was very envious of the little girl and wondered when he could have this kind of treatment. The car ran smoothly forward and entered a remote road. Suddenly the front lights flashed. A black car blocked the way in the road, followed by a van, closing any chance of retreat. After the two cars were stopped, a dozen men with sharp-edged swords in black jumped from the cars and besieged Xiu Haodong's car. Their leader was the one-eyed dragon, Meng Gang. "You're really fast," Qin Haodong said with a smile. "What should we do?" Nalan Wushuang asked. "You take the little girl to rest in the car, I will get down and solve this." Then, Qin Haodong opened the door and calmly walked out of the car. The one-eyed dragon, holding a horse-chopping sword with a length of about 1 meter, watched Qin Haodong and smiled coldly. "Boy, you didn't expect this, did you? We meet again so soon. Just tell me, what do you want to do?" Qin Haodong indifferently asked with his hands behind him. "Hand over the Ice King Green Jade, and the 2 dogs. Maybe I can spare your life." Meng Gang's one-eyed flashed and said, "Leave the woman in your car with me, I also took a fancy to her." He had always been a lascivious person, and now he had dared to rob Nalan Wushuang. "Why?" Qin Haodong asked. "Just because of the sword in my hand and the brothers behind me. If you know your situation and do what I say, maybe I can spare your life. If you don't know, I will send you to hell immediately." Qin Haodong still looked indifferent. He said, "I must remind you that we are in China. It is illegal to do so." "Illegal?" Meng Gang burst into a sly laugh. "Each one of my brothers behind me has killed before. The law is useless for us. Spare the nonsense. If you don't want to hand over those things, I will immediately chop you into minced meat. Don't think that we dare not kill people in China. We can go back to Burma if worse comes to worst. You are few and your level is low. I don't know what gave you the courage to come to China." Then, with a loud whistle made by Qin Haodong's mouth, after motor sounds were heard, 6 or 7 green off-road vehicles drove over. The shining headlights illuminated the night sky. 20 or 30 people jumped off from the off-road vehicles and besieged Meng Gang and his men. These people were in security uniforms, holding short sticks in their hands. They were quick and agile, which showed clearly that they were very skilled. Meng Gang slightly frowned. He did not expect that this little gigolo was prepared and set a trap for him. However, he was not nervous. In Burma, they were known notoriously as ruthless people. They can beat opponents even when they were besieged. Chapter 72. Third Mother. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 72. Third Mother. After the security guards got off the cars, a big man with a height of 1.9 meters walked up to Qin Haodong and said in a loud voice, "Boss, 30 guards of the Daddy Security Company are all in place. Captain Zhang Tiniu has finished reporting." This afternoon, when Qin Haodong went to the Daddy Security Company, all of the 50 wounded soldiers who had been assembled by Nalan Wushuang were all treated by him. These people also joined the Daddy Security Company. The captain of the team, Zhang Tiniu, who was reporting, was once a prominent figure in the military. His strength was at the same level of Chen Fugui's. But he was also retired early due to injury. After being cured by Qin Haodong, he became a security guard of Realm 8 and the team leader of the Daddy Security Company. After realizing that Zhou Tsuetsue's behavior was oddly quiet, Qin Haodong brought 30 security guards from the security company. When they left the exhibition center, Zhang Tiniu followed them. In fact, his strength could completely beat these people, such as the one-eyed dragon. The reason why he did this was to enhance the reputation of the Daddy Security Company. These Burmese people ran into China and came to rob our people. Teach them a lesson, Qin Haodong said. Don't worry, boss. These cats and dogs are nobodies. Then, Zhang Tiniu turned his head and turned to Meng Gang. He once carried out his missions everywhere in the past. Even the seals of M Country and the Red Berets were not stronger than him, let alone these Burmese gangsters. Kid, don't say that I am bullying you. Now I give you a chance to fight with me 1.1. Come on. The one-eyed dragon's face sank. Although Zhang Tiniu looked very tall, he didn't care about that. Height was not the crux in a fight. You are going to die. After a roar, he waved the sword in his hand against Zhang Tiniu. The sword was heavy and sturdy. If Zhang Tiniu was cut, the power was enough to lop off an arm. Zhang Tiniu looked coldly at the long sword of the one-eyed dragon. When it fell, he suddenly screamed and then used the short stick in his hand to hit the sword. The Daddy Security Company's short sticks were all specially tailored by Naylan Wushuang, and were completely made of stainless steel. After the thudding noise of the horse-chopping sword and the short stick, Meng Gang's hand became numb. Then, the sword in his hand flew out. He never imagined that Zhang Tiniu's strength was so great that he had already lost after only one stroke. As he thought of this, a big foot kicked his chest. Meng Gang cried and his whole body was flung up. Then he slammed into the ground and vomited blood. He could not stand again. Qin Haodong nodded slightly. This Zhang Tiniu was indeed a talented guy. It was no wonder that Naylan Wushuang had made him a security guard of the 8th realm. It seemed that he still had much room for improvement in the future. Brothers. Teach these bastards a lesson. Then, Zhang Tiniu waved his short stick and rushed over to the remaining dozens. The security guards of the Daddy Security Company also roared and rushed toward Meng Gang's men. They had been excellent soldiers. After being wounded for so long, they finally found a chance to vent. They would not be willing to miss it. The poor people brought by the Meng Gang, even if in 1.1 encounters they had no chance to win, let alone being fewer in number. They were beaten and cried piteously. 2 minutes later, the fight ended. None of the people in the Daddy Security Company were injured, while the Meng Gang and his men were all solidly tied up. Meng Gang shouted, "Boy, I am a member of the Jade Gang. Let us go, or we will not spare you." Zhang Tiniu gave a heavy slap to his face and said, "How can you be so arrogant at now? The Jade Gang is nothing in the eyes of my boss." Qin Haodong did not take the Jade Gang seriously in his mind. Since Zhou Tsuetsue dared to trouble him, he would teach her a lesson. At the same time, he could use them as an advertisement for the Daddy Security Company. Soon the alarm flashing lights could be seen. Naylan Wuxia and the police's criminal unit rushed over, which was also arranged by Qin Haodong. Meng Gang did not expect Qin Haodong to call the police. He said angrily, "Boy, you called the police. How can you not keep the rules of Jianghu? I am just a law-abiding doctor. I do not go by the Jianghu ways. As you come to China, you will taste the rice in prison. If you go back, don't say that we are stingy," Qin Haodong said with a smile. Naylan Wuxia came and looked at Qin Haodong. She asked, "What happened? Don't find trouble for me. Do you the police is too idle? What are you saying? This is a big gift for you." Qin Haodong pointed to the men who were tied up and said, "These people are murderous robbers. I have evidence in the car's driving camera. The only thing you need to do is to take them back and claim the reward. What a good job. Are you serious? Nalan Wuxia asked, confused. Of course, you can ask your sister. Qin Haodong pointed to the car. At this time, Nalan Wuxuang got out of the car with the little girl who was looking around in confusion. Nalan Wuxia commanded her men to get Meng Gang and the others into the police cars, and take them back to the police station. Then she walked toward Nalan Wuxuang. What a beautiful little princess. Although Nalan Wuxia was short-tempered, she liked children very much. After seeing the little girl, she immediately became fond of her. She asked Nalan Wuxuang, who is this little cutie? She is so beautiful. When Dongfang Liang kidnapped Lin Momo last time, Nalan Wuxia had come to the spot, while she was busy handling the case and did not notice the little girl at that time, nor did she know this was Lin Momo's daughter. After seeing Nalan Wuxia, the little girl immediately felt refreshed and reached out her two fleshy little hands to say, "Anti-police, hug." Nalan Wuxia took Tang Tang in her arms. The little girl became hyperactive in Nalan Wuxia's arms. Next to them, Qin Haodong was smiling. It seemed that his daughter was going to find a way for him. As expected, the little girl said to Qin Haodong, "Papa, the police auntie is so beautiful. Can I ask her to be my third mama?" Nalan Wuxia now knew that the little girl was Qin Haodong's sworn daughter, but she also asked with a surprise, "Little cute, why third mama?" The little girl said seriously, "Because I already have mommy in the second mama. You can only be a third mama." Nalan Wuxia cast a stern glance at Qin Haodong, "Did you teach her that? Aren't you afraid of corrupting her?" Qin Haodong said a little awkwardly, "Well. This has nothing to do with me, my daughter is completely self-taught." The little girl shouted, "It wasn't Papa, but Papa said that I can find 7 mamas. Hey!" Qin Haodong was afraid that the little girl would say anything more. He quickly talked about another topic, "Officer Nalan, there may be a master behind these people. Please investigate thoroughly." He was very clear it was Zhou Cuecue. It was best if Nalan Wuxia could put the ugly woman behind bars. "Well, I will go back and take time to handle the case," Nalan Wuxia said and returned the little girl to Nalan Wuxuang. Then she left with her men. Zhang Tinyu also went back to the Daddy Security Company with the 30 security guards. After getting on the bus, Qin Haodong said to Nalan Wuxuang, "I will also bother you to contact the newspaper reporters, let them concentrate on reporting the event. It will help us establish the reputation of the Daddy Security Company. Do not worry, this is very easy." Nalan Wuxuang understood Qin Haodong's intentions and said, "In fact, now the Daddy Security Company has become a little famous in the upper circle." "No way, so soon?" Qin Haodong said surprisedly. The circle of upper-class society in the south of the Yangtze River area is not big, and news are spreading very quickly. Nalan Wuxuang continued, "The last time you took Saber and a few people to beat the Thunder God Security Company's Wei Tianlei in Lin's group. And the Divine Mercenaries served as Lin Momo's bodyguards. Later, with Chen Fugue and others you beat Lu Huaqiang's Duke Culture Media Company. The two events have made the upper circle know the existence of the Daddy Security Company. The only difference is they only knew that a powerful security company was found, but they did not know the name at that time. I believe that after today, the Daddy Security Company will be famous in Jiangnan City." Qin Haodong nodded with satisfaction, this was exactly what he wanted. After sending Nalan Wuxuang to her home, Qin Haodong took the little fellow back to the Lin's villa. Lin Momo wore a white home dress and sat in the living room, watching TV and waiting for them. Seeing Qin Haodong entering the door, she asked in a querulous voice, "Why do you come back so late?" Mommy, I went to play with my papa. It was so fun." The little fellow threw herself into Lin Momo's arms and handed the Ice King Green Jade to Lin Momo. "Mommy, look at this big glass ball." Lin Momo hugged and kissed the little fellow. When she saw the appearance of the Ice King green jade, her eyes immediately widened. She was the president of the Lin Group and she was very familiar with the jewelry industry. She did not think it was a glass ball like ordinary people. This is an Ice King green jade. She took the Ice King green jade carefully and said, "Where did you get it?" "It was made from the inside of a stone. Papa is so powerful that he can change the stone to a glass ball," the little fellow said with pride. Although she did not clearly understand, Lin Momo could still guess what happened. She was surprised and asked Qin Haodong, "You found this?" "Yeah," Qin Haodong said, nodding unconsciously. "Do you know what this is? Do you know how much it costs?" Lin Momo asked excitedly. She had been in charge of the Lin Group for many years. She had seen countless jewels, but she had never seen an Ice King green jade as big as this one. I know. The little fellow quickly said, "Mommy, someone would pay 1 yuan but Papa didn't sell it." Qin Haodong looked at Lin Momo's strange expression and said, "It's not 1 yuan, it's 100 million yuan. I'm not very good with jade. Some people said that this is an Ice King green jade and wanted to buy it for 100 million yuan. I saw that Tang Tang liked it very much, so I let her take instead of selling it." Well. Lin Momo was also astonished. 100 million yuan was a lot of money. As the young lady of the Lin family, all private savings she had for these years were only 100 million yuan. Qin Haodong took such a valuable thing as a toy for his daughter. She felt that she was more like a sworn mother, while Qin Haodong was the little fellow's father. Chapter 73. No Fighting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 73. No Fighting. Lin Momo was sensitive to the fact that a lot of things had happened this night, but after seeing that the little fellow was so sleepy, she decided to let Tang Tang go to bed. Soon, they put the girl down in the bedroom, and Lin Momo whispered to Qin Haodong, "You come with me." They went to the study room next door. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "My kid's mother, why do you look for me without Tang Tang so late?" Then, he pretended to glance at the big bed next to him unintentionally. "You are glib-tongued, I am serious." Lin Momo cast a stern glance at him and said, "What the hell went on this evening? Tell me about it." Qin Haodong knew that Lin Momo would definitely ask, and he told her everything from the beginning to the end of the exhibition center today. Lin Momo was surprised about what she had heard. When Qin Haodong finished, she asked, "You said that you got the 100 million yuan's jade stone, and won the gambles with Feng Tianda continuously." Qin Haodong said, "Of course, 100 million yuan had already been spent, and the Ice King green jade is also here." "How did you do that?" Lin Momo asked. "What did you say? Don't fool me. How did you win 3 games in a row? Why was there jade in every stone you chose? And you even got an Ice King green jade. I told you, it's the good luck of Dumao and Ermao. They helped me choose the stones. Don't lie to me. You've chosen a jade stone in my venue. How do you explain that?" "It could only be my good luck. I have heard that some people who have good character will have good luck. It seems that this is true." Seeing Qin Haodong's laughing face, Lin Momo was angry, but she had no other way than to believe this explanation. Then Qin Haodong seriously said, "My business has already been done. I need you to do something." "What do you want me to do?" Lin Momo asked strangely. "When you go to work tomorrow, let people spread a message, saying that the Feng Group's gemstones are not the old ones from Burma, but some fakes." Before Qin Haodong finished, Lin Momo said, "How is this possible? I have sent people to see it. The stones of the Feng family are indeed the old pieces from Burma. They are authentic goods. No one will believe the rumor. Don't be so anxious, I have my reason for saying this." Qin Haodong said, "No one believes in this rumor alone, but if the Feng Group can no longer find raw gemstones that has more than 3 times the premium rate, Then, what would people think? This. Lin Momo hesitated and said, that should be believed, but how is this possible? As you can find the Ice King green jade in their exhibition, why can't others find a stone with a very high premium rate? Qin Haodong looked at Lin Momo with a meaningful look. Believe me, the Feng family will never find a good stone again. You just need to spread this news out and wait. When the guests can't buy good stones with the Feng family, naturally, they will return to the Lin group. At that time, the Feng family can only look at us. Lin Momo had long been a businesswoman, and her mind was extremely savvy. Otherwise, she would not be the Lin group's president in her 20s. She immediately understood and exclaimed, you mean that you have bought those stones? Qin Haodong changed his face and laughed, I don't mean anything. You just need to do what I said and I can definitely promise the success of the exhibition this time, beating the Feng family thoroughly. Lin Momo knew that Qin Haodong definitely was concealing something from her, but she did not ask him again. Everyone had a secret. What about the stones you bought? Where are they? All of them are placed in the Daddy Security Company. It is the safest place, Qin Haodong said. You must have good jades in those stones. It is better to sell them. Now our Lin group is lacking in good materials. Qin Haodong shook his head and said. No, it is all I have to pay the tuition for my little daughter. You. Lin Momo was speechless. How can the Lin family not be able to afford the tuition of the little girl? These stones are temporarily unsuitable for sale, otherwise they would make the Feng's suspicion, Qin Haodong said. Lin Momo immediately understood that. If there was no jade stone that had more than 3 times the premium rate in the Feng group, and they had good materials in the Lin group, they would definitely cause suspicion. It was easy to let people think of Qin Haodong's actions. In fact, she did not know that Qin Haodong had another intention. The preliminary estimated value of these jadeite stones should be between 1 billion and 2 billion yuan. If they were handed over to Lin Momo, she would unselfishly hand them over to the Lin group, as her personality dictated. In the eyes of Qin Haodong, only his own women and the little girl were the most important. It had no relationship with the Lin group. It was impossible to give such a large fortune to others. I understand, I will not say anything about this, Lin Momo said. Qin Haodong took out a few checks from his pocket and gave them to Lin Momo. He said, today, I took away 100 million yuan from your card. Here is 100 million yuan, take it. Lin Momo said, you have helped our group so much, I don't want this money. After a pause, she said, don't be worried about your stones, I won't take any. Qin Haodong secretly laughed, this woman actually made it so clear to him. The reason why he returned the money to Lin Momo was that he did not want her to leave a bad impression in the Lin group. I said that this money was borrowed from you. I must return it. Besides, there is no relationship with the Lin group, I just wanted to help you. Okay. Seeing Qin Haodong's resolute attitude, after hesitating, Lin Momo took the check. But she said, the Ice King green jade is too expensive. Take it back quickly. Don't give it to Tang Tang as a toy anymore. Qin Haodong smiled and said, since Tang Tang likes it, I will give it to her. Lin Momo repeatedly waved her hand and said, no, absolutely not. It is too expensive, just take it back. What can I do with it? You know I am a man, and I hate green the most, but. Lin Momo still wanted to say something but she was interrupted by Qin Haodong's peremptory voice. Stop, no matter how much that thing is worth, it is just a stone. How can it be compared with my daughter? After she becomes bored of it. You too can use it to make a set of ornaments. It's of no use to me. Lin Momo hesitated and said, I still can't. You can, I said so. Qin Haodong stepped forward, looking directly at Lin Momo's eyes. I am your man, you must listen to me. Lin Momo's cheeks were red, but she did not dare to look directly at Qin Haodong's eyes. She whispered, "Who said you were my man?" "I said that, isn't it enough? It seems that you want me to confirm it." Then Chin Haodong held Lin Momo in his arms, and kissed her deeply. Lin Momo's body became stiff. She wanted to push Chin Haodong away, but when she thought of the scene 4 years ago, she couldn't help but feel a little hot. Her hands couldn't make any effort and then clung to Chin Haodong's muscular back. After kissing for a long time, Chin Haodong picked up Lin Momo and walked to the big bed next to them. Just as he put Lin Momo to the bed and was ready to confirm that he was her man, the door behind him was suddenly opened. "Papa, Mommy. Don't fight." The voice of the little girl was like cold water in the dead of winter days, instantly putting out the burning flames in their hearts. Chin Haodong hurriedly got up from the bed, and Lin Momo also nervously rearranged her clothes. "Papa, Mommy. Don't fight. Don't leave me," the little girl said and cried. Her pretty little face was full of sadness and grievance. "Don't cry. Tang Tang." Chin Haodong rushed to the front of the little girl and comforted her, "We didn't fight." "You are lying, I saw it. You are fighting with Mommy." The little girl cried as she spoke. "Tang Tang, it is not a fight. Your Mommy felt a little uncomfortable and your papa is a doctor. I am treating her. You can ask your Mommy. Is it true? Mommy?" The little girl asked Lin Momo very seriously. Lin Momo had already gotten the messy clothes back in order. She cast a stern glance at Chin Haodong. Hearing his words, describing what he had just done as a treatment, the redness that had just subsided on her face came back. "It's true, Tang Tang. My stomach is not comfortable, Papa is helping me heal." "Oh. Are you okay now? Do you want to continue helping Mommy?" The little girl believed their lies. "No, I feel better now," Lin Momo awkwardly said. Seeing the question made by the little fellow was finally solved, Chin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief, pulling the little girl's hand and saying, "Weren't you asleep? Tang Tang, why are you up again?" "I had a dream, dreaming that my papa and mommy were fighting, and then they left me alone. I would become a child without papa and mommy." Speaking of this, the little girl cried again, and obviously she was very sad. "Don't cry, Tang Tang. We will never leave you alone." Lin Momo and Chin Haodong calmed the little girl together, which made her smile through the tears. They coaxed the little girl to sleep again. Lin Momo said, "It's so late, you go back to sleep. You know it's so late, and you are still driving me away. Otherwise I could sleep here tonight." Chin Haodong looked at Lin Momo's curvaceous figure and couldn't help but swallow. No. What if Tang Tang wakes up again? We can't always lie to her. After what happened just then, Lin Momo already had a psychological barrier. Chin Haodong could only helplessly get out of bed. His daughter was good, but sometimes she would mess her old daddy's good plans. He kissed the two beauties' cheeks and turned away from the room. When he had just left the gate of the Lin's villa, he saw a dark shadow coming near from far distance. The shadow was very fast and quiet, just like a ghost in the night. Obviously, it was a skilled man. Chin Haodong hid his body and wanted to see what this person was doing. He saw the shadow directly coming to the nearby regions of the Lin's villa and jumping into the villa after observing the conditions. Chin Haodong was a bit surprised. He didn't expect this person's aim was the Lin family. His own woman and child were in the villa. No mishap can befall them. So he quickly followed the shadow. Chapter 74. Female Thief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 74. Female Thief. Chin Haodong wanted to know what on earth his purpose was to arrive at the Lin's villa. If it had to do with the several former assassinations, he must make use of this man to find out the evil backstage manipulator. He followed the black shadow to enter into the Lin's villa, while after it he depended on the strong sensibility of spirit to closely surveil. The Black Shadow was quite quick in movement, which is supposed to reach the 8th realm of overt power according to Qin Haodong's cultivation of judgment, and also it was obvious that he was very good at light body skill. Since the divine mercenaries took charge of protecting the safety of Lin Momo, 2 mercenaries would take turns at keeping watch every night at the external frontiers of the Lin's villa. Tonight, it was the turn of Axe and Whip to keep watch. As the members of the divine mercenaries, Axe and Whip had worked extensively on this. Even so, that Black Shadow, depending on his exquisite body movement and the art of making himself invisible, penetrated their defenses and silently entered into the Lin's villa. The Black Shadow lightly climbed up the platform of the 2nd floor. Fumbling in his pocket and producing a small bamboo tube, he blew inside a wisp of white smoke. After waiting quietly for 2 or 3 minutes, he opened the window and jumped into the villa. Qin Haodong watched every move of the Black Shadow behind. What the Black Shadow blew was the knockout smoke that the thieves usually used, and he had no purpose of killing. His techniques and methods were more like a thief than a killer, so he didn't rush to take actions. As expected, after entering into the villa, the Black Shadow started to search the rooms one after another that seemed like to look for something valuable. He soon arrived at the bedroom of Lin Momo and the little fellow. Qin Haodong closely followed the Black Shadow behind. Once he became a danger for the mother and the daughter, he would kill him immediately. The Black Shadow entered into the room softly, while his attention was not on them but probing around. Suddenly, she saw the king green jadeite besides the pillow of the little fellow. She at once went up and grasped it in his hand and then turned around to leave. The tight and worried face of Qin Haodong promptly relaxed a lot. He thought that it seemed that he was just a thief instead of a killer. Although that king green jadeite was worth more than 100 million, Qin Haodong didn't stop the thief. This man apparently came for a purpose. It wasn't clear whether there was one behind the thief, so he decided to trace the thief to investigate further. The Black Shadow apparently seemed more relaxed after getting the jadeite that while leaving he had not such prudence as that he had entered the villa. Maybe he had enough confidence in his knockout smoke so that he thought that all people in the villa must be gassed. However, he didn't realize that there were 2 dogs in the room. After being made a thoroughgoing change, that 2 dogs, Dumao and Ermao, were immune to such an ordinary knockout smoke. As soon as they detected that a stranger entered the room, they barked furiously and then fell upon the side where the Black Shadow was. The Black Shadow got a great shock that he had no idea that there were 2 dogs inside the villa, and also they hadn't been overcome by the smoke. At that moment, when he had gotten the king green jadeite, he didn't want to stand here longer, so he jumped straight out of the window. However, the barkings of Dumao and Ermao has caused the alarm of Axe and Whip that they at once found out the Black Shadow that jumped out from the window. Both of them frightened. Qin Haodong asked them to protect Lin Momo here, but they failed to perceive anything of when the Black Shadow entered in the villa. If anything untoward should happen to Lin Momo and the little fellow, they didn't know how to face up to their own boss. Thinking of this, the 2 of them uttered a groan and pounced upon the Black Shadow. Axe had 2 snowy white hatchets in his hands, and with a great murderous look, he chopped the Black Shadow in order to kill him. A black long whip appeared in Whip's hands that seemed like a viper in the dark night. Whip gave a sharp flick of the whip to the 2 legs of the Black Shadow. In the same mercenary regiment, both of them had a certain level of chemistry in the fight so that they blocked all the routes of retreat of the Black Shadow. Facing with the attack of 2 master hands, though surprised, the Black Shadow wasn't confused. His body suddenly heightened directly to more than 2 miles and quickly sweep over the head of Whip and Axe. Such a brilliant light body skill was out of the expectation of Whip and Axe that their tricks didn't pay off, so that they turned around quickly to attack again. The axe in Axe's hand became a flash of cool light, leaving his hand and chopping to the back of the heart of the Black Shadow. The whip of Whip also became the shadow of Whips in the sky, sweeping towards the Black Shadow. The Black Shadow didn't turn back and avoided the coming short axe in the sideways, but it was reaching his limitation that he could no longer avoid the long whips in his back that swept on his left shoulder. He stumbled forward for 2 paces, but still didn't stay long and rapidly rushed forward. At the same time, he shouted, "Go to save people." He took 2 steps forward, but he still didn't stop, rushing forward, and shouted, "Go to save people, before it's too late." The voice of this person was very crisp, who turned out to be a woman. Axe and Whip, who originally wanted to continue the chase, were startled by her. Compared with this case, it was more important for them to protect the safety of Lin Momo and the little fellow, so they didn't dare to chase the Black Shadow and jumped into the villa. After getting the 2 enemies, Axe and Whip, off, the Black Shadow disappeared into the dark night very soon. After about half an hour of running wildly all the way, she arrived at the door of the huge courtyard, where it was very dark without a light and a worn plaque hanging in the doorway. There was an orphanage. The courtyard of the orphanage was very large, where there were many houses inside, but it looked very worn and may not be repaired for a long time. The Black Shadow leaped from the low wall and entered into a room. But this time she decently opened the door and came in. Obviously, this was her residence. After entering the room, she lit a light, then took off the veil on her face towel and took off her night dress. Although the lights were very dim, it still could be seen that this was a very beautiful girl at the age of about 20. The girl took a small bottle and some gauzes from the dilapidated drawer next to her, and then took off her clothes with great pain, half of her white arm revealed. Whip's cultivation repair had already reached to the 8th realm of Ming Jin, and his skill of sweeping whip was brilliant. Although the long whip in his hand was slightly swept on the girl's shoulder, he still busted the girl wide open and her wound was quite dreadful. The girl applied the ointment in the vial to the wound on the shoulder and wrapped it with the gauze, but from her frowning eyebrows and her pale face, it could tell that the effect of the drug was not very good. After finishing all this, she took out the king green jadeite from her pocket, and her face finally burst into a gratified smile, which looked a bit weird against the green light. "How about it? My thing is no bad, is it?" A voice abruptly rang in the room. The girl was shocked and rushed to put the king green jadeite into her pocket, then suddenly turning back with a shiny dagger already in her hand. She saw a young man looking at herself with a smile, and cried in amazement. "You! It is you, how could you find this place?" Qin Haodong threw a faint smile. "You steal my thing, so I follow you." He was sure that the girl stole alone, neither with a guy behind her nor with a company, so he didn't hide himself any more and entered into the room directly. The girl was a little surprised that although her light body skill could be regarded as the first class, this man could follow behind her in silence without being discovered by herself, that she could know that his cultivation was so high. "Give me, this is my daughter's. It is time to return it," Qin Haodong said, stretching out his right hand to the girl. "No. I will not give it to you." After saying, the girl stepped back and nervously held the king green jadeite in her pocket. "This is not good." Qin Haodong was made to laugh by her, and said, "As the saying goes, the thief should also have a moral in the mind. As a thief, you have already been found in your home by the owner. Isn't it a right thing to return the stolen thing to me?" The girl lowered her head slightly and chewed her lips in a complicated look. After a while, she looked up and said, "That's right, according to the rules of stealing sect, I should give it back to you, but this thing is too important for me. As long as you can give it to me, I will agree with every requirement that you put forward." While saying, she surprisingly took off her clothes. She undressed her coat with only black underwear on her. Under the dim light, the girl's white skin gleamed with an attractive glow and her nice hour-glass figure was so sensual. Qin Haodong was not swerving, and with a faint smile, he drew a chair and sat down. Then, he took a look around the decoration of the room, which was dilapidated, and the clothes taken off by the girl, which was something off the rack worth a few dozen yuan and seemed to have been worn for a long time. "Do you know how much the thing is worth in your hand?" he asked. "Yes, I do," said the girl. "Today in the hall, I saw someone's offer for the piece of it was 1 billion yuan. In this case, how could you ask me to give it to you?" Could you believe that you are worth such a great price? You know, 1 billion yuan is enough for me to play with women all my life. The girl clenched her teeth and said, as long as you gave it to me, not only can I have sex with you, but also I can kill others for you, steal things for you, and do anything for you. Qin Haodong looked at the girl who was in a resolute composed look and said with great interest. I know that you are not a woman who loves money very much. Why are you willing to pay such a big price for it? Give me a reason. Reason, what kind of reason do you want? The girl suddenly became overwhelmed and shouted at Qin Haodong. You rich people could enjoy good food and nice dresses, driving luxurious cars and living in villas, even giving a treasure worth 1 billion for your daughter as a toy. But have you ever thought that how many poor children are there in the world? They have no parents, no dependents, they can only live in these dilapidated houses to maintain a bare existence. However, now the houses are going to collapse. Where do you want them to live? Let them sleep on the street. After her words finished, her well-developed busts were violently ups and downs, and her eyes were full of anger and unwillingness. Qin Haodong looked at her quietly. He kept silent for a long time. After a while, he said faintly, my money is also earned by myself. Poverty cannot be the reason for your theft. The girl was also calmer. She said, therefore, I want to barter with you by my body, by my everything. Do you want to rebuild the houses here with the money exchanged by this jadeite? This time the girl didn't say anything but nodded her head firmly. Tell me your story. If it can make me moved, maybe I will give it to you, said Qin Haodong. Really? You really are going to give it to me? The girl couldn't believe it. Qin Haodong smiled at her and said, not yet, it depends on your performance later. If you could be honest to tell me everything, maybe I could help you. Now what you should do is to get your clothes on. The girl put on her clothes again, casting a glance at Qin Haodong with a complexed look, and then she said, okay, I will tell you everything. Chapter 75. A Windfall. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 75. A Windfall. I was an orphan abandoned by my parents when I was a child and was brought back by the old dean here. I grew up here. The old dean is very good that he really makes children here have a feeling of being at home. However, due to limited conditions, the children in the orphanage have to leave here when they are 16 years old. I am no exception. I left the orphanage after my 16th birthday. With no culture, no education, and no skill, after leaving here, I wander from place to place in the society and work everywhere to make a living. Until one day, I met a crazy fortune-telling madness. He said that my condition was very suitable for the inheritance of stealing sect, so that he passed down his set of expertise and skills of stealing to me. Qin Haodong nodded inwardly and thought that the 6 men of the divine mercenaries were stuck in the 7th realm of overt power where they were practicing until their 30s, who finally reached to the 8th realm of overpower with his help. However, this girl had already reached such a realm when she was just about 20 years old. It was clear that she had a great talent in it. At that time, I had no place to go, so I had been learning the skills from the old man for 3 months. Later, the old man left. When he left, he repeatedly told me that I must abide by the rules of stealing sect, that I could just steal the ill-gotten wealth and rob the rich to help the poor. Later, I make a living by stealing, but all of the stolen money was brought back to the orphanage to improve the life of my brothers and sisters. Qin Haodong could sense that the girl was sincere and didn't lie. I have seen the level of your theft. It is really high. You should be able to steal to get a lot of money according to your level. Why are you not at all well off? The girl said with a bitter smile, I originally thought the same as you, but I really come to aware that stealing is not quite easy since I really start my business. Due to the restrictions of the rules of stealing sect, the people who I could rob were just corrupt officials and bullies, but such kind of people are not a lot. Moreover, although these people are rich, the cash they keep in their houses are not so much, which are basically fixed assets or are kept in the bank. In this case, I could steal a little money every time. Especially in recent years, people buy things directly with mobile phones, and do not bring money in their pockets. This makes the business of stealing more and more difficult to do that even with the best skill it is very hard to get money. Qin Haodong said, "Why didn't you steal some valuable things? You can also exchange money from these, can't you?" The girl shook her head and said, "Wherever I am by myself, so I couldn't find a way to sell these valuable things. If I am not careful enough, I will implicate the orphanage. Therefore, I usually steal the cash and don't touch other things. Why did you break the rules this time and steal my jadeite?" The girl's cheeks were reddish and she said, "The houses in the orphanage are too old. Recently, the south of the Yangtze River is in the rainy season. Many rooms of my little brothers and sisters have rain leaked into their room, and some even have the signs of collapsion. So I want to make more money to rebuild the houses in order to give them a better life. However, it requires a large sum of money which is quite difficult for me. There is just a rough stone exhibition in the exhibition center. I think that those people who go there to buy the rough stone must be the riches, so I decide to take the chance to go there. When I arrived there, I just saw the king green jadeite that you get, and someone even bid $1 billion for it. I was excited at that time and thought that as long as I could get that jadeite, I would have enough money to rebuild all the houses in the orphanage and even set an air conditioner in every room. So I decided to make an exception. Anyway, you are also a rich man that you don't care about whether your child lost a toy or not. Therefore, I followed after you until I found that villa and got that jadeite. I just didn't expect that there were such powerful guards in your places who made me hurt and let me tracked by you to here." After listening to what the girl said, Qin Haodong was quite moved in his mind that this girl had a sense of gratitude. It was rare that she was willing to sacrifice herself for these children in the orphanage. He raised his hand to stop the girl's acupuncture point, and then took the king green jadeite from the girl's pocket. The girl who was being just absent-minded and was hit by a blow, and saw the jadeite taken back by Qin Haodong. Her eyes flashed the sadness and disappointment that was difficult to conceal. Qin Haodong did not stop. After the jadeite was put into his pocket, he gently pulled off the girl's shirt. "You! What are you doing?" The girl suddenly panicked. She had just had a fearless look when she undressed herself, but now she has no such courage as that she had before. However, now her acupuncture points were controlled so she could not move at her will. Qin Haodong stripped off the gauze that she had wrapped around her shoulder, took out a white jade bottle from his pocket and picked out some black ointment from bottle to gently apply it to the girl's injured shoulder. The girl only felt the wound on the shoulders cool, and the pain that she felt before disappeared. She knew that he was helping her cure the wound so that she was more relaxed at once. The black ointment in the jadeite bottle was the latest refining bone and marrowing muscle cream developed by Qin Haodong, which had a miraculous effect on such kind of wound. After applying the cream, he used the green wood genuine qi to help the girl brush the injured meridians. Soon, the whiplash on the girl's shoulders had been healed. Qin Haodong helped her dress her clothes and released her points. Straightening her clothes, the girl looked at Qin Haodong with a complex look and said, "Big brother, thank you, you're welcome, I'm a doctor, and it's no bother." The girl hesitated, bit her lip and said, "If you are so rich, can't you help these children?" "Sure, I am really moved by your story, but this jadeite is a gift that I promised to give my daughter, so I can't give it to you." When the girl fell back into the disappointment, Qin Haodong took out a cash check from his pocket and gave it to her. "This is 30 million. I have given you as much as I could, but it was enough for rebuilding the house of the orphanage." The girl looked at the check in front of her eyes and looked at Qin Haodong quizzically. "Big brother, are you really willing to help us?" Qin Haodong smiled and said, "At least for now, if you don't take it away, I am not sure about it." "Big brother, thank you." The girl took the check and then began to take off her clothes. Qin Haodong rushed to stop her arm. "What are you going to do?" The girl looked feelingly. Big brother, you are willing to spare so much money to help us. I know that there is no free lunch in the world, so I only could repay you with my own body. Qin Haodong said, you needn't do so. Now that I want to help you, I don't think of any return. The girl flopped down on her knees in front of Qin Haodong. Big brother, I represent all the children of the orphanage to thank for your kindness. I have said that you needn't do so. If there is not anything else, I will go back. Qin Haodong said, lifting up the girl, and was going to leave. Big brother, wait a minute. The girl stopped Qin Haodong. What else? Big brother, I have been so embarrassed to take you so much money at once. I have some things here that you can take a look at and decide whether they can be useful to you. Maybe it could be a compensation for you. The girl said and knelt down, pulling out a snakeskin bag from the bottom of the bed. After opening up, there were some antiques such as vases, jades and the like. What is this? Qin Haodong asked. There was a corrupt official last year who corrupted the money which should be delivered to the orphanage. I went to their home with great anger, but I didn't find much cash, so I finally brought all the antiques from their house. After I got these things, I didn't find any way to sell these antiques, so I just threw them under the bed and kept them there. Big brother, take a look at them. If you need them, you can take them away. While saying, she dumped everything in the bag on the ground for Qin Haodong to choose. Qin Haodong lowered his head and glanced at these things. He knew that none of them has a little spiritual qi, which was obvious that they were fakes. It seemed that the corrupt official was also a layman, that he was just collecting such kind of worthless things. They are all fakes that cannot sell for a little money. You just sell them as much as you can. Qin Haodong said, and was going to turn around. Suddenly, his eyes were attracted by a ring next to a vase. The ring looked gray and dark, and there was no condition of the good thing at all, but he looked very fascinated and even shook a little when he reached out. Holding the ring in his hand, Qin Haodong slowly closed his eyes. At this moment, he had clearly a sense that it was a storage ring and was in the top class of the top class. In the cultivation world, the storage ring could be seen everywhere, which was, and it was almost an essential of a cultivation artist. This thing could form a three-dimensional space independently, which was a moving warehouse, that it was convenient to store things, so that it was the favorite of every cultivation artist. However, on the earth, the storage ring became scarce. Although he had the ability to develop one, there was no original material with the space characteristics, thus it was impossible for him to develop one. When he just returned to the earth, he was very uncomfortable without a storage ring. He did not expect that today he could encounter one accidentally. The storage ring would only appear in the form of a ring after the success of its refining and the death of the owner. Once the owner was recognized, it would shape an independent space on the owner's body. This ring was obviously not a new product, so the owner must have died. The owner of the storage ring must be a cultivation artist. A cultivation artist was likely to leave a large number of instruments and articles after he died. It made Qin Haodong very excited in his mind. After all, in the earth, a place lack of spiritual qi, it was too difficult to cultivate oneself step by step. Only by an external force could we improve our cultivation. However, in front of the girl's face, he was not suitable to recognize the lord of the storage ring immediately, so he just tried to hold back the impulse of his heart. I want this thing. Qin Haodong said. Well, big brother takes it as you like. Seeing that he liked the ring, the girl was very happy and there was no reluctance in her eyes. Qin Haodong packed the storage ring away. In his heart, this ring was priceless, that was, even 10-30 million couldn't buy it. From this point of view, he was very grateful to this girl. If the girl hadn't had stolen his own jadeite, he would not have such a big surprise. How long will you stay here for this cultivation? Asked Qin Haodong. It has been almost half a year. It was very easy to make an improvement in the cultivation before. It takes at most 3 months to develop to a new realm. However, I've gone middle dot of dot the dot road where I reach to the 8th realm of overt power. No matter how many times I try, I could not make any improvement. Mentioning about this thing, the girl had a pity, but she didn't aware that without depending on any force. It was very strange and scarce for people to develop to the 8th realm of overt power in such a few years. Even for some disciples in some sects, they could not have such a speed. Qin Haodong took out a little strengthening pill and sent it to the girl. Swallow it. I will help you break through it. It can be regarded as a compensation for you. What? Big brother, you're not mistaken, right? Can you really help me break through? The girl's face was mixed with excitement and horror. To be honest, this ring is very precious and very important to me. Qin Haodong said, don't doubt me, take this pill. I will help you break through immediately. The girl didn't hesitate anymore, grabbed the little strengthening pill and sent it to her mouth. Then, she sat cross-legged down on the bed. Chapter 76. Personal Female Bodyguard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 76. Personal Female Bodyguard. Qin Haodong came to the girl. He reached out with his right hand, putting it on the Baihui acupoint located on the top her head. He then transmitted greenwood genuine qi into her, to help her reduce the power of the little strengthening pill. As the genuine qi was going into her body, Qin Haodong could clearly feel that the girl had the brilliant bone and the broader meridians than normal people. She was definitely a talent of practicing martial arts. 10 minutes later, with the help of Qin Haodong, the cultivation bottleneck, which bothered the girl for a long time, was broken through easily, directly reaching the early stage of the overt power's 9th realm. While feeling the strong genuine qi in her body, the girl was delightful. She jumped down from the bed and gave a deep bow to Qin Haodong, saying, Big brother, could you please accept me as an apprentice? What do you mean? Qin Haodong asked doubtfully, and he couldn't understand what she wanted to express for a while. At the beginning, the crazy madman had told me my fortune, saying that I would meet the first bottleneck of my life when my cultivation reached the 8th realm of the overt power, which could not be broken through if I didn't meet a great helper. More like, if there was someone who could aid me in breaking through the bottleneck, he would be my great benefactor. He asked me to stay with my benefactor so that I could have a big opportunity. Qin Haodong inwardly pondered, how that crazy madman was absolutely a great master, being able to accurately calculate what would happen several years later. He turned it over in his mind. Although the divine mercenaries had strong fighting power, they were all men after all. Their ability to protect Lin Momo was imperfect, especially in the evening. Tonight was the most obvious example. The hand behind the assassination attempt had not yet been revealed. Other attacks to end Lin Momo's life could happen again at any time. Therefore, it was ideal to the girl in sight acting as Lin Momo's bodyguard. Well then. From now on, you will follow me. My name is Qin Haodong, and I am a doctor. You can call me boss from now on. Yao Qianshan. Thanks boss. The girl respectfully said to Qin Haodong. If there is nothing else, please follow me. I will find professionals to help you rebuild the orphanage. Thank you, boss. Yao Qianshan was overjoyed. Although she had a good cultivation and stealing skills, she knew nothing about rebuilding the house. There was no relevant talent in the orphanage. It was perfect if Qin Haodong could find some professionals to do this. She didn't have too much stuff. After simply packing up some of her belongings, she left the orphanage with Qin Haodong. After returning to Villa number 6, Qin Haodong asked Yao Qianshan to choose a room to live in, and then hurried back to his room. He needed the storage ring to recognize him as an owner as soon as possible, to see what there was inside. After closing the door, he held the storage ring in the palm of his hand. He had not observed it carefully while in Yao Qianshan's room just now. Now it was necessary to observe it as carefully as possible. The ring was entirely gray and seemed quite ordinary. With careful observation, he could see there was a decorative pattern along the inside wall of the ring. If other people saw it, they would recognize what it was, but Qin Haodong could. It was the ancient text of the cultivation world, translated into modern text, Fairyland. Although he could read it, Qin Haodong still didn't know what it meant. Did this storage ring come from a sect named Fairyland or Ano the overt power force? He couldn't figure out what did the writing meant, although he had watched it for half a day. In the end, he simply didn't think of it anymore, and let the ring directly recognize its owner. He covered the ring with the strong power of the spirit. Because this was an ownerless item, it was easy to recognize him as its owner. After a flash of light, the ring disappeared. On his middle finger, a dark circle pattern appeared. Qin Haodong looked at the ring with his spiritual force and immediately entered into an empty space. He originally held a great hope for this storage ring, thinking that he could get the experience and art from the predecessors. However, when he entered inside, he surprisingly found out there was nothing. The only consolation was that the space of this storage ring was extremely large, having nearly 100 cubic meters, while the ring of his previous life was just tens of cubic meters. Qin Haodong was slightly disappointed after seeing this. His cultivation had reached the 9th realm of the overt power, but what he cultivated was Shuzhen Gong, which demanded an enormous quantity of spiritual qi. If he didn't depend on outside forces like the rare materials from the sky or the earth, spiritual stone and the like, it was hard for him to establish a cultivating foundation. However, he could not do anything at the moment. Either way, it would be more convenient now that he had a storage ring. He could put his items, which he usually carried along and used, such as medicinal materials, into this storage ring. Tidying up his things, he finally found out that he himself became poor. Though several hours before in the hall center he had recovered 130 million by gambling stones, he had spent almost all of the money in the twinkling of an eye. Now he had no more than 100,000 yuan in his pocket. On the morning of the second day, when Qin Haodong got up, Yao Qianqian was already waiting at the door. Through the cultivation from the previous night, the 9th realm of the overt power that she had just reached seemed already being settled down, so her breath was steady and strong. They went together to the Lin's villa. As soon as they entered the courtyard, axe and whip came to them. "Boss, sorry, we failed in our duty last night, please punish us." Last night, when they hurried to the Lin's villa, they had just found out that people in the house had already been overcome by the smoke. Fortunately, the smoke wasn't very toxic, only making people fall asleep for a short time. Although they were more scared than hurt, they still broke out in a cold sweat. Feeling sorry for Qin Haodong's requirement, they wanted to admit their errors and ask for punishment, so they came here very early in the morning. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I know everything, and I don't blame you." He introduced Yao Qianiqian to the two. "This is a new member of our daddy security company, also one in the 9th realm among the security guards. Later, she'll take charge of protecting Momo and the little guy as their bodyguard, so it would be a better cooperation for you to take your missions inside and outside." "Thank you, boss." Axe and Whip greeted Yao Qianqian after thanking Qin Haodong. Obviously, they did not recognize that she was the black man last night. They warmly welcomed Yao Qianqian's coming. Because of the gender difference, in the evening, it was settled that the divine mercenaries could just protect outside, which added to their protection difficulties. It would be much better if someone could protect the villa's interior as a bodyguard. Later, Qin Haodong took Yao Qianqian into the Lin's villa and introduced her to Lin Momo and other people. Lin Momo was greatly frightened after knowing the affair of being overcome by the knockout drops. Luckily, the little fellow and her didn't get hurt. Because of it, the newly arrival of the female bodyguard who Qin Haodong introduced was very well received by her. Moreover, Yao Qianqian was a girl with quite a nice look and of a sincere poise, which greatly suited her temper. She warmly pulled Yao Qianqian into the villa and arranged her room. Because their body figure was nearly the same, she found a lot of new clothes and shoes for Yao Qianqian as her gift. The little fellow liked Yao Qianqian very much and kept calling her auntie. When Damao and Ermao smelled Yao Qianxian's breath, they barked at her from time to time, which was stopped by Qin Haodong. Later, Qin Haodong gave the Ice King green jade to the little fellow. However, this time Lin Momo put it away. After breakfast, all things in the Lin family became normal as before. Under the protection of Yao Qianxian, Lin Momo went to work. At the same time, there were a lot of things that had happened in Jiangnan City. Through an unexpected interrogation, the criminal unit made great achievements. Although it involved one Dai dragon, the Meng gang didn't drop a word. Even so, Naylan Wuxia learned through the subordinates that the mastermind was Zhou Cuizui and organized an arrest overnight. However, Feng Tianda had prepared well. No long after the arrest of the Meng gang people, he got the news from the criminal police thanks to people of the Feng group. Zhou Cuizui, who used to be rude and unreasonable, was frightened greatly after knowing how serious the thing had become. She knew that Huaxia was not Burma. If something happened, even his brother couldn't protect her. Therefore, she immediately asked Feng Tianda to organize to send her back to Burma. Facts proved that what she did was right. No sooner after her departure, Naylan Wuxia brought people to the Feng group but in vain. Zhou Cuizui had already gone back to Burma. The Huaxia police couldn't find a good solution at this time. Feng Tianda felt greatly relaxed after sending back his absurd and ugly girlfriend. These days he had been fooled by Zhou Cuizui, which was unbearable for him. It could be said that he had made the ultimate sacrifice for the interests of the Feng family. From the heart, he simply hated this woman. If it had not been for Zhou Cuizui wanting Qin Haodong's 2 dogs, he wouldn't have lost his face and almost all the money that he had collected for many years. Fortunately, this chaotic woman was finally sent away. He put all his energy into the original stone exhibition at the hall center. Shortly after opening the door in the morning, his subordinates came to report that many people with gambling stones came to the original stone hall with their dogs. Last night, Qin Haodong used the dog to pick the raw gemstones and had won 3 games, a fact that had already spread in the circle of gambling stones. Many people with a "let's try it" attitude brought their dogs over. For a time, the original stone hall almost became a famous dog exhibition. Various kinds of famous dogs gathered together. Golden retrievers, huskies, labradors gathered together, and even 2 of them brought their pet pigs, because it was said that pigs had a finer sense of smell than dogs. Feng Tianda immediately panicked. He didn't know whether these dogs had an ability similar to Damao and Ermao's, but if it were so, Feng Zheshuan would go bankrupt. He rushed to issue an emergency regulation. At the very beginning, he restricted all dogs from entering the original stone hall. Later, he thought that it was not perfect, and he changed, restricting all non-human creatures from entering the hall. He was relieved after driving all kinds of dogs out of the original stone hall. But before he could recover, there was suddenly news spread in the world of gambling stones that all the Feng group's raw gemstones were phony. No good jades could be found when opened. Some people even said that the gambling game last night was a good show made by the Feng group. In fact, the young man with dogs was one of their helpers, whose purpose was to fool everyone. At first, Feng Tianda did not care about it, thinking that the rumors were ridiculous. However, with the opening of the raw gemstone hall, many customers chose the stones and opened them at the scene. To his surprise, none of them could open a jadeite that could rise to 3 times the price that they brought. Almost all of them lost money on it. Such a result strengthened the spread of that rumor, which spread more and more as time passed. Finally, no one came to the Feng's group hall, but went instead to the Lin groups. In less than 1 day, the situation had undergone a major reversal. While there were no customers in the Feng's hall, the Lin group was overcrowded, which annoyed Feng Tianda, yet he could not find the reason. Outside the hall center, under Naylan Wuxuang's meticulous operation, the Daddy Security Company hit the headlines of every media in Jiangnan City. The Daddy Security Company has made extraordinary efforts, and foreign criminals were arrested in Huaxia. Women are robbed, the Daddy Security Company protected their safety. The Daddy Security Company, a fighter jet from the security community, takes off. In the forums and post of every major website, all the news about the Daddy Security Company had also been topped, causing widespread concern from the society. These things didn't attract Qin Haodong's attention. At this time, he was taking the little fellow to the door of the south of the Yangtze River's art museum and preparing to participate in the prefecture's children's singing contest. Chapter 77. A competition of fathers begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 77. A competition of fathers begins. According to the appointed time, Qin Haodong went to the entrance of the south of the Yangtze River gallery with the little fellow, but did not see the teacher, Wang Jiani. After waiting for a while, the father and the daughter saw Wang Jiani arriving in a hurry. "Ms. Wang, we are here, here." The little fellow waved her hand and kept yelling. Qin Haodong saw that Wang Jiani's face was drawn and there were tear marks on her face, as if she had just cried. He asked, "Ms. Wang, what happened?" "No, nothing, Elle got up a bit late, sorry." Wang Jiani said and managed to show a weak, yet forced smile. "Come in, Tang Tang is the only one in our class to participate in the competition." Qin Haodong nodded and was just about to walk into the gallery with the little fellow, when he saw a group of people passing by. Among the group of people there was a middle-aged couple, one of who was holding a boy about 4 or 5 years old. Besides them, an obsequious young woman was keeping them company. After them, 7 or 8 guards dressed in black suits were following. This young woman was also a teacher of the Gold Branch and Jade Leaf Kindergarten. Wang Jiani took charge of Class 1 of the middle class in the kindergarten, while she took charge of Class 2. The little boy, called Wang Guan, was a child of Zhao Yanyan's class, who also came to participate in the competition. These people took this little boy, Wang Guan, as the center, surrounding him to the front of the door. When they came across the door, Wang Guan saw the little fellow in Qin Haodong's arms and shouted, "Tang Tang, go back home. The championship is mine." They were children from the same kindergarten, often playing together, so they knew each other very well. The little fellow was not convinced. "Wang Guan, you are telling a lie again. Why should you be the champion?" "I am the champion. I am the champion. Not only can I take the first place in the competition today, but I will also be the champion in the finals. If you don't believe it, you can ask Ms. Zhao." Wang Guan said very firmly. Zhao Yaoyao beside said flatteringly, "You're right. You sing so excellently that the first prize must belong to you today." The little fellow was not happy and said, "Ms. Zhao, you're wrong. Wang Guan is a terrible singer, like a duck. Quack. Quack." Wang Jiani spoke to Zhao Yaoyao, "Ms. Zhao, we are just the officials of the kindergarten. Bringing children to take part in the competition, we have no right to say who should be the first place." Zhao Yanyan looked at Wang Jiani and again glanced at Qin Haodong beside him, full of dismissal in her eyes. Such a rare chance to take part in the competition that it should be used to associate with some rich parents, but this young man beside Wang Jiani seems not a rich man at all. Although Wang Guan was indeed a terrible singer, his father was Wang Hongbing, a famous major property developer of the south of the Yangtze River, who had agreed to sell her an apartment with a 50% discount. "Ms. Wang, you don't have to say anything. Today the first place must be Wang Guan's. Believe it or not, wait and see. It's impossible. The competition has not yet begun, how could you be sure who gets first place? Moreover, our classmate, Tang Tang, sings definitely well. I have told you that the first place must be for our Wang Guan. Why do you still bother saying anything useless?" The middle-aged woman who spoke was Wang Guan's mother, Ma Hong. Her gaze swept around Wang Jiani and Qin Haodong, then she said arrogantly, "What we have is money and my father is the vice director of the Culture Bureau. If the first prize today is not our Wang Guan's, is it possible that it is yours?" Wang Jiani said, "Lady, we come here for a singing competition, not to compete on whose family is richer." The first place belongs to the one who sings well. Moreover, it doesn't depend on your words, but the judges' final results. Ma Hong smiled and said scornfully, "Judges. They will say what we ask them to say. They are all controlled by my father." Wang Hongbing said, "Well, let's come in." After having said that, tens of them entered into the hall arrogantly. Wang Guan didn't forget to provoke the little fellow, saying, "I am the champion. I am the champion." The little fellow was definitely unhappy. He felt hurt and said to Qin Haodong, "Papa, is what they said true? Tang Tang can't get the first prize." Qin Haodong said, "That is not true. As long as Tang Tang sings well, the first place today must belong to you." "Great, I must sing well, I must be the first." The little fellow was excited again. "Ms. Wang, let's go inside." Qin Haodong said and brought the little fellow into the hall, Wang Jiani following. "I really don't know what these people think. Why do they educate their children in this way?" Wang Jiani shook her head as she walked. "It is good for the children's development to take part in competitions, but if they spoil their children this way, it could only be counterproductive." Qin Haodong said, "Don't mind it. As long as the little fellow performs well, it is enough." Wang Jiani said, "Mr. Qin, you should prepare mentally, because Wang Guan's parents definitely have a great power. Moreover, no one knows what will happen at this moment. Tang Tang is participating here for experiencing the competition. As for the result, it is not too important for her. Moreover, today is a tryout, the top 10 contestants can take part in the semi-finals tomorrow night." Qin Haodong smiled slightly and knew that Wang Jiani was giving him a warning. It seemed that she lost the confidence for Tang Tang to get the first place. "Don't worry, Ms. Wang. I believe that the judges are fair. As long as the little fellow sings well, she will be able to win first place." Wang Jiani opened her mouth but did not speak. However, she obviously didn't agree with Qin Haodong's statement. Qin Haodong did not continue, but turned to say to the little guy, "Tang Tang, which song are you going to sing today?" The little fellow said very mysteriously, "Secret. Wait and you will know it, Papa." So mysterious. You don't want Papa to know it in advance. Yes. This is the only secret for you. The little fellow said with a smile. At 9 o'clock in the morning, the competition started on time. The little fellow was on the 6th, and the 5th in front of her was Wang Guan. Very soon, it was Wang Guan's turn. As soon as he showed up on stage, there was burst of hand clapping from the audience before he started to sing. The song that Wang Guan sang was Little Naza, which was very popular. However, Wang Guan sang it in a broken way which was extremely terrible, almost ruining the image of the song in the minds of the people present. Some in the audience secretly pouted, others could not help but laugh, and some directly blocked their ears. However, Wang Guan on the stage enjoyed his own singing very much and was excited. No a word of the whole song was on the tone. Finally, he finished and the audience felt relaxed. Under the guide of Wang Hongbing, the Wang family applauded warmly again, and roared their appreciation. "Papa, what he sings is too terrible to hear," the little fellow frowned and said. Qin Haodong said, "It doesn't matter. The next one is Tang Tang, and Tang Tang will sing a good song for everyone." At this time, the host on the stage called, "Please welcome the 6th participator Tang Tang. Her song is, I Am Looking for My Father." Qin Haodong, standing near the stage, was shocked. He didn't expect that the little fellow had chosen this song. No wonder she wanted to keep it secret from him. Tang Tang stepped on the stage. She was never shy when facing a large audience stage and she sang loudly. "I am not afraid of rain, nor afraid of snow, even in the falling snowstorm, as long as I could see him every day, no matter how heavy the snow is, I am not afraid, I wanna find my father, wherever I go, I want my father." The little fellow's voice was sweet, singing very emotionally. Eyes with trails of tears, thinking of the children's ridicule, the desire for her father, she cried as she sung. Looking at the little fellow who performed heartily on stage, Chin Haodong was filled with guilt. During the past few years, he owed his daughter too much, his eyes unknowingly became misty. The audience present was touched by the little fellow's performance. When the song ended, many people's eyes were filled with tears. After a short silence, there was a lively applause on the scene. There was no harm without comparison. Both of them were little performers coming for the competition, but the little fellow sang infinitely better than Wang Guan just now. After stepping down the stage, the little fellow still had tears on her face, but she jumped into Chin Haodong's arms cheerfully. "Papa, the song that Tang Tang has sung for you. Can I get first place?" Chin Haodong kissed his daughter's smooth face. He said lovingly, "Tang Tang is the best, the first place is definitely yours." Wang Jiani did not expect that the little fellow could perform so well that she said with excitement, "Tang Tang, you sing well. You will be a big star in the future." "A big star like Ouyang Shanshan?" the little fellow asked, her eyes blinking. "Much better than her," said Wang Jiani. "Great, I want to be a big star, I want to be a big star." The little fellow smiled more and more happily. On the other side of the hall, Wang Guan seemed to feel the threat from Tang Tang and said uncertainly to Ma Hong, "Mom, can I still win the championship?" Ma Hong said, "Of course, you are from the Wang family. No matter how well they sing, it is in vain." One morning passed by, all of the 20 contestants had already performed on the stage. Now it came to the verdict from the judges. Today, the tryouts didn't adopt the way of grading directly on stage, but grading after all the performances had finished. Each judge scored the contestants one by one and then the scores would be summed up to the final score. The 7 judges got together and whispered, and their faces were embarrassed. Among the total of 20 little contestants, the other 18 people could be scored very easily, but it was difficult to score the little fellow and Wang Guan. The little guy sang the best. According to strength, she was undoubtedly the first place in the field, but Wang Guan was from the Wang family. Although his singing was terrible, Wang Hongbing had already greeted these judges one by one before the competition. Moreover, Wang Guan's grandfather was the deputy director of the Culture Bureau, who these people must respect. In the end, the referee made a final decision. According to the original plan, he announced that Wang Guan won the first place in the competition, and that contestant number 6, Tang Tang was second. However, he did this against his own heart, but let the deputy referee to announce it on the stage. The deputy referee was secretly unhappy, but he had not other choice because he was the deputy. What he could do was to obey the arrangement and he took the microphone to go on stage. Fortunately, he had years of experience, and had practiced the ability to say what he didn't want to say. Today each contestant gave an outstanding performance, especially Wang Guan. It is rare that at such a young age he has a style of the deep, husky voice, performing a children's song with features of R&B. After a unanimous decision, the first place in today's competition is the contestant number 5, Wang Guan. Just after he finished, the scene immediately boiled, mixed with discord and clatter. What the fuck? Such a foul move. So shady. How could they say that such a terrible voice is a deep, husky voice? Could it be more false? None a word was in tune. How could they say it sounded like R&B? Who do you think you are? I have heard that child number 5 was from a very rich family, that his father is a real estate developer. It seems that the competition of fathers is at play. Chapter 78. Mind. Manipulating skill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 78. Mind. Manipulating skill. Wang Guan jumped up when he heard the result. He yelled with joy, "Oh, I won the first prize." The first prize. Wang Hongbing and Ma Hong's face turned proud, too. Nothing was impossible when faced with their powerful family. Their son might be a poor singer, and the girl might be a nice one, then what? Their son had to win the first prize. It was not important if he was good at singing or not, it was more important to have a great dad. The little fellow felt unfair immediately, and she asked, "Papa, am I a bad singer? How come that I didn't win the first prize?" Wang Jiani sighed because she had already seen all this coming. She tried to comfort the little fellow and said, "Don't be sad, Tang Tang. It's okay. You don't have to win the first prize to pass the trial. You can catch up later." Sneer emerged at Qin Haodong's mouth corner. This had become a contest of good dad now, but fortunately, no one in the world could be a better dad than him, the Emperor Greenwood. He said to the little fellow, "Tang Tang, don't worry. You're actually the winner. The judge said it wrong. Now, wait for me. I'll go to remind them." After that, he sent the little fellow to Wang Jiani's arms. Then he strode to where the judge sat. He walked to the head judge and said, "Your results are wrong. Singer 6 is the winner." The judge didn't expect that someone would come and question their judgment. Of course, the result was against their will, but they would never allow anyone to question it, for they had their authority to preserve. He chinned up and was about to lecture the bold person, but his words changed right before they were about to be spoken out. He said, "You're right, we made a mistake at work. I'm going to correct it right now," he said as he strode up on the stage. He grabbed the microphone from the deputy head judge and said, "We've made a mistake in the result. The winner is singer number 6, Tang Tang." All the audiences went speechless. They couldn't believe that the head judge revised the result the deputy head judge had just given out. However, the result now was more in line their expectation, and that was what they want, a justified result. Applause thundered in the place. "I am the winner. I am the winner." The little fellow was dancing with joy, and she kissed Qin Haodong several times on the neck. She said, "You're a good dad. A good dad." Wang Jiani looked at Qin Haodong with surprise. She asked with disbelief, "How did you do that?" "It's easy. The head judge is also a very reasonable person. I told him he was wrong, so he went up on the stage and corrected it immediately." Qin Haodong said with a cheeky smile. He could never tell the girl about how he had used the mind-manipulating skills. Mind-manipulating was the upgraded version of mind-bewitching. Mind-bewitching could let people speak out the innermost ideas, while mind-manipulating skill made others do as one thought. Since this had become a fight of good dads and since the judge feared the power of the Wangs, he had no other options but to use his power to serve justice for the little fellow. Wang Jiani's face was filled with disbelief, but the truth was just there. The Wangs are in a total mess now because the first prize they had just won was cancelled. Wang Guan immediately cried out. He thumped Wang Hongbing and asked, "You said I would definitely be the winner because I'm a Wang, then why it's cancelled? Why did the damn girl win the first prize? Is it because she's better at singing than me? Don't worry, son. I'll go check." Wang Hongbing was also surprised that the judge he had bribed disappointed them. He walked to the judge's seat in anger. "Head judge, what's going on? Wasn't my son the winner?" The head judge looked at him without any fear, in spite of the fact that he was the family master of the Wangs. The little girl won the first prize because she sang well, which was the most justified result. What? How could she be better than my son? My son was a Wang. His grandfather always praises him for great singing. As angry as Wang Hongbing was, he was still rational. He tried to imply it to the judge that they were the Wangs, and his father-in-law was the deputy director of the Cultural Bureau. But the head judge acted like he had taken strong drugs. He showed no respect to Wang Hongbing at all, and replied in anger, "I treat everyone here equally here, including the Wangs. How could your son win the first prize with that poor singing ability? Have you ever heard him singing?" Wang Hongbing turned furious. He pointed to the judge and yelled, "Stop pretending. Don't forget that yesterday, you. He was so furious that he was about to expose how he had bribed the head judge yesterday. The deputy head judge stopped him and said, "Please calm down, Mr. Wang. It will be bad for all of us if you say that out." The deputy head judge had no idea of what was wrong with the head judge, but it would be bad for all of them if the scandal got exposed. So he stood out to stop him. Wang Hongbing thought about it for a moment and found it was true. He glared at the head judge and suppressed his anger. The deputy judge said, "Mr. Wang. Although your son is not the winner today, I can grant him the second prize. He could participate in the semi-final, and I'm sure you know the way to make him the winner then." Wang Hongbing knew that this was his only option. He hummed coldly and went to the Wangs. Later the deputy head judge went to the stage to announce the rankings of other players. Wang Guan fell from the first position to the second. Qin Haodong didn't care about others at all. He was not the savior. His could only make sure that the little fellow could be treated fairly. When he retracted the mind manipulating, the main judge shivered as he had just woken up from a nightmare. What was done was done. He had irritated the Wangs, and it was too late to regret. In that way, the contest ended up like a farce, but at least the result worked. The little fellow was told to attend the semi-final at 8:00 tomorrow night. Having won the first prize today, the little fellow walked out of the gate of the art museum happily with Qin Haodong. Wang Jiani also felt happy to be with the father and the daughter. After all, the little fellow was her student, and she shared her honor. "Tang Tang, try your best, I believe that you can be the winner in the finals." "That's great. Great. Tang Tang will be the winner. Tang Tang wants to be a big star." The little fellow yelled with joy and ran forward. Suddenly a group of people blocked her way. The head of the group was Wang Hongbing and his family, with 7 more bodyguards behind. The little fellow sensed that these people's bad intention. She hurried to run back and hugged Qin Haodong's leg. Qin Haodong held the little fellow in his arms and looked at Wang Hongbing and others. Then he asked, "Anything wrong?" Ma Hong said, "You steal my son's first prize, now apologize to him and promise that you won't attend the contest tomorrow." Wang Guan was young, but he had learned how to be arrogant from his parents. He yelled with her, "She took the first place away from me. Now apologize." The little fellow got courageous as soon as she was hugged in Qin Haodong's arms. She yelled back emulatively, "I am the winner. You're a bad singer." Wang Jiani said, "Wang Guan's mother, you're wrong. The kid won the prize because she was qualified. That's the result given out by the judge. How can you blame others? You have no right to forbid her to attend the contest tomorrow." "Who the hell are you?" Ma Hong asked as she acted like a shrew. She pointed Wang Jiani on her face and yelled, "We'll call you Miss when we respect you, and if we don't, you'll be nobody before the Wangs. I can have you fired just by calling the principal." "How can you be like this? That's not how a parent should be like." Wang Jiani was so angry that her face turned red. Her chest was undulating violently. Ma Hong continued yelling arrogantly, "Young girl, I don't need you to teach me how to be a parent. Now get out of my way or I'll have you fired tomorrow." Wang Jiani wanted to say something else, but Qin Haodong pulled her behind him. He said coldly to the rude woman, "Be a smart dog and get out of my way, now." See, the young man had no respect to the Wangs at all. Wang Hongbing became stern and asked, "Do you have any idea who you're talking to, young man?" "I know. The Wangs, right?" Qin Haodong answered like he didn't care at all, "You're the famous real estate, and your father-in-law is the deputy director of the Cultural Bureau." Wang Hongbing said proudly, "That's right. Now do as my wife said and tell your daughter to apologize to my son, and promise not to attend the contest tomorrow." "No, I just want to attend, and I'll be the winner." The little fellow replied emulatively. Wang Guan yelled, "You'll do what I say. If you insist to come, I'll have my father knock off your father's teeth. The little fellow said, that's brag. My papa is the greatest man in the world, and he's not afraid of your papa. Ma Hong yelled, shut up, little girl, your father was a gigolo boy, how could he be the match of the Wangs? Qin Haodong glanced at the people of Wang Hongbing and asked with an intriguing look, do you have money? Ma Hong hesitated for a moment and answered, of course. The Wangs had enough money. Wang Hongbing asked, you want money? I can give you 10,000 yuan as long as your daughter does not come to the contest tomorrow. Qin Haodong waved his hand. He smiled and said, no. I'm afraid that you don't have enough money to pay the hospital later. Wang Hongbing's face turned cold, and he yelled in fury, you sick of living young guy. He waved his hand and said loudly to the bodyguard behind him, teach him a hard lesson, and let him know what's good. His bodyguards had been gearing up. They weren't taking the young man seriously at all because he seemed muscleless. When they heard their boss command, they jumped at Qin Haodong immediately. The bodyguard in the front smashed on Qin Haodong's face. He wanted to perform nicely before his boss, wishing that his salary next month could be raised. Unfortunately, his waving fist had barely touched Qin Haodong's clothes before he flew backward and brought two other bodyguards down on the ground. Qin Haodong kicked the bodyguard away with the little fellow in his arms. Then he kicked twice like playing soccer, knocking down Wang Hongbing and all his bodyguards. Great! Great! Papa's so great! The little fellow applauded cheerfully. Wang Jiani was at first worried that Qin Haodong would get hurt, and she had taken out her phone to call the police. Before she pressed the third button, all men in front of her had been knocked down. She opened her mouth in surprise because she never thought the young man, who was always smiling, was such a fierce fighter. Chapter 79. Panda Eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 79. Panda Eyes. Wang Hongbing and Ma Hong's face looked all confused. They were going to teach the young man a lesson and let him know how powerful the Wangs were, but instead, their bodyguards had been taught the lesson in no time. Qin Haodong walked to the two with the little fellow in his arms, and he said happily, if you want to take advantage of your family's power to bully others, I'm afraid you'll need a much bigger family than the Wangs. After that, his right hand reached out in a flash. After several booming sounds, four panda eyes appeared on Wang Hongbing and Ma Hong's face. Having taught the two arrogant people a lesson, Qin Haodong looked at Wang Guan, the boy standing beside him. He patted his face and said, young boy, try to work out things on your own in the future. Don't make everything a fight of your dad's. Moreover, your father was not qualified for the fight at all. After that, he left with the little fellow and Wang Jiani. Wang Hongbing felt desperate grievances. His eyes were glaring. The Wangs had been used to be the bullies and nobody had irritated them like that before. He became angrier and angrier when he saw the bodyguards lying on the ground. He rushed over and kicked hard on them, you fu *king pieces of waste. Why am I still paying you? Get the fu *k out of here, now. He thought he had been stepped on by the young man because of his bodyguard's incompetence. After he took the anger out on his bodyguards, he fired them all. Ma Hong said with a pair of panda eyes, honey, I can't just let this go. Wang Hongbing gnawed his teeth and said, me neither. The young man thought he could be lawless just because he could fight. I need him to know the power of the Wangs. What should we do? Shall we call the police? Asked Ma Hong. Call the police? Have you lost your mind? We can't afford to be that embarrassed. He glared at Ma Hong. The Wangs had been taught a lesson by a poor young man, and they were calling the police. How could he live with the shame in Jiangnan City if the news spread? But that gigolo boy was too strong. Even our bodyguards were not his match. It's no big deal that he knew some kung fu. Our bodyguards are all waste at this moment, but the Wangs are rich, and we can find better bodyguards, said Wang Hongbing. Words on the street that the bodyguards of Daddy Security Company are quite capable. I'm going there now and find the best bodyguards to teach the young man a lesson. Qin Haodong didn't know what had happened. He was driving away from the art gallery with Wang Jiani. Mrs. Wang, where are you going? I can give you a ride. Qin Haodong asked. Okay then, please send me home, Wang Jiani answered. It's Sunday today, why not hang out with your boyfriend? Qin Haodong asked casually. Wang Jiani's expression froze and stopped talking. Qin Haodong could tell the change on her face. He stopped asking because it was her privacy. Soon he drove to the place Wang Jiani told him. Goodbye, Mrs. Wang. The little fellow waved to Wang Jiani. After she said goodbye to the father and the daughter, Wang Jiani opened the door and got off the car. A few steps later, a figure jumped in her way and grabbed her arm. You by *ch, finally I can find you. It was a young man in his 30s that was speaking. He was in a branded suit and looked just fine, except for his flirtatious face which made people quite uncomfortable. Dong Chao, why are you here? Wang Jiani panicked when she saw the man. Why am I here? You tell me. You're my wife. You should live with me in my house instead of fooling around. Dong Chao scanned on Wang Jiani with lusty expression and said, you must have hit on plenty of men these days. You're getting so much sultrier, and your boobs seem to have grown up a lot. Now move, I want to have a nice shot. After that, he grabbed Wang Jiani and dragged her into the apartment. Dong Chao, you bastard, let go of me. Wang Jiani struggled desperately, but there was no way she could be the match of Dong Chao, who was strong enough. She had been dragged forward 3 more meters until she had no other options but to bite on Dong Chao's arm. Ouch! You by *ch. How dare you bite me? Dong Chao looked down to the arm which had already been covered with blood. He turned fury, then raised his palm and slammed on Wang Jiani's face. But before his hands touched the face, it was grabbed by someone else's tough hand. He couldn't move anymore. Dong Chao looked back and saw a young man in his 20s grabbing his wrist. The young man had a little girl in his arms who might be 4 or 5 years old. Bad man. Don't bully Mrs. Wang. The little fellow yelled at Dong Chao. Qin Haodong also said coldly, what kind of man would beat a woman? Who the hell are you? I am teaching my own wife. Mind your own business and get the hell out of my way. Dong Chao struggled a few times, but he failed to get rid of Qin Haodong's hand. He let go of Wang Jiani in anger and slammed on Qin Haodong's face with another hand. Go to hell. Qin Haodong yelled coldly and raised his hand. Then he slammed on Dong Chao's face. Dong Chao flew backward for at least 3 or 4 meters and crushed on the ground in large booming sound. Great! Great! Bad man! Papa will hit you if you bully Mrs. Wang. He picked himself up from the ground and spat some blood. He was afraid of Qin Haodong, so instead of getting back to him, he pointed at Wang Jiani and yelled, you by *ch. I wonder why you sneaked away from me to Jiangnan. Turned out that you've kept a lover here, and your children had grown up so old. Watch your language. Or I'll knock off all your teeth. Qin Haodong was smiling as he spoke, but Dong Chao felt that he had been enveloped by a great chill. He couldn't help shaking and regretting that he was here in such a hurry that he forgot to bring his own bodyguards. Young man, let me tell you. I am one of the Dongs in Shanghai, you can't afford to mess up with me. Qin Haodong smiled shortly and said, really? What if I want to mess up with you? Young man. Just because I am in Jiangnan now doesn't mean I cannot teach you a lesson. My cousin is quite influential in the underworld of Jiangnan. You'll suffer if I call him here. Now get the hell out of here. Really? Then call him, and show me how much I will suffer. Wang Jiani had left a nice impression on Qin Haodong, so he wanted to help her for the sake of the little fellow and help her to get out of the trouble. Just wait here, young man. Don't run away if you're a real man. Dong Chao picked himself up from the ground and took out his phone. Then he said, cousin. A gigolo boy bullied me in Jiangnan. Hurry up and get here. Wang Jiani's face turned pale out of panic. She pulled Qin Haodong's arm and said, Mr. Qin, you should leave and hide how. The Dongs are quite influential, though we're in Jiangnan. I heard his cousin was actually influential in the underworld and was a notorious head of the ruffians. Qin Haodong said disregardingly, take it easy. It's just a ruffian, no big deal. The little fellow added, yes, Mrs. Wang. Papa's tough. You don't need to fear as long as he's here, so do I. Looking at his cute daughter, Qin Haodong smiled. At the same time the phone in his pocket rang, he took it out and checked. It was Long Haisheng's call. He realized that a week had passed, and today was the day that he should go treat Long Haisheng's son, Long Xiaobao. He pressed answer button. Long Haisheng was asking politely from the other side, Dr. Qin, are you busy now? Do you have time to check Xiaobao? Qin Haodong glanced at Dong Chao who was making the phone call. He knew it would be a while before he could leave, so he said, just a moment. I've run into some troubles, and I'll get to you as soon as I work it out. Long Haisheng immediately asked when he heard Qin Haodong was in trouble, you're in trouble now. Can you tell me about it? Qin Haodong was the one he cared most now, because his son, Long Xiaobao, had been getting better day by day after the treatment last time. Now he had stopped dialysis and chemotherapy. Last night, they found in surprise that there was short soft hair on Xiaobao's head. Now what they cared most was should anything happen to Qin Haodong, Xiaobao's treatment would be influenced. Qin Haodong thought for a moment and found it would be better if he left the trouble to Long Haisheng than to himself. So, he said, someone's troubling my friend here. Long Haisheng's face turned cold and said, how dare he trouble your friend? Now give me the address, I'll send Dafei there as soon as I can. Okay. Qin Haodong glanced at the street sign next to him and told Long Haisheng the exact location. He hung up the phone, so did Dong Chao. He pointed at Qin Haodong and the other one, then yelled, Gigolo boy. Be a man and do not run away. You'll suffer enough when my cousin gets here. Tell him to hurry up. My time is precious. He ignored Dong Chao after he said that. He turned to Wang Jiani and said, Mrs. Wang, what's going on here? Can you tell me in specific? Wang Jiani seemed to be hesitating, but later she nodded and said, I was actually married, and my husband is the scum standing here. 5 minutes later, Qin Haodong had had a full picture of the whole story. Wang Jiani met Dong Chao in a party when she was a freshman in the college. Back to then, Dong Chao pretended quite nicely. He was a talker, a dancer, and a singer. His sweet nonsense fascinated Wang Jiani, a young girl who barely knew anything about love. Soon they got married. But after they got married, she found Dong Chao had been lying about everything. He was actually a scum, not just because he had affairs, but also because he constantly gathered people to take drugs and get indulged in promiscuity. Wang Jiani wanted to divorce as soon as she found it out, but Dong Chao insisted not. She couldn't get rid of him because the Dongs were too influential in Shanghai. In that way, she had been tortured by Dong Chao. Months later she had serious STD. She ran out of Shanghai in the name of treating disease, then she hid in Jiangnan, working a kindergarten teacher. It had been a year, and she thought she had got rid of Dong Chao. Nobody knew how the scum knew about Wang Jiani's message. He called Wang Jiani at first and asked her to go back to Shanghai. It turned out that Wang Jiani's bad mood in the morning was because of Dong Chao's call. She didn't know that a few hours later, the scum arrived in Jiangnan and found her home. Qin Haodong sighed silently. The woman was so innocent. The dongs were so powerful that they must have located her when they made that call, and that was why they could find the place. Qin Haodong felt quite sorry for the woman. He asked, "What's your plan?" Wang Jiani wiped off the tears at the corner of her eyes, and her eyes looked extremely desperate. "What should I do? I wanted to divorce him, but he wouldn't allow. I can only go back with him if there are no other options." Qin Haodong said, "I can help you get rid of him if you really want to." Wang Jiani said, "No. The dongs are too powerful. You don't need to get in troubles because of me." Chapter 80. Family of Vets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 80. Family of Vets, Big Trouble. Qin Haodong glanced at Dong Chao, then he smiled disdainfully. "It's no more than a piece of cake to deal with the trash like you, and that's no trouble at all. Don't get too proud, young man. You'll have no time to cry when my cousin comes here." As Dong Chao said that, a few off-road cars rushed over. More than 20 ruffians jumped off the cars with steel pipes and cutters in their hands. The leading one of them had a large wolf head tattoo on his chest, looking quite fierce. "Here you are, cousin. The guy seduced my wife in front of us, and he beat me. You have to teach him a lesson for me. Calm down. Jiangnan City is our place, and no one dares to mess up with me or my brothers." Wolf patted Dong Chao's shoulder and said proudly, "The gigolo boy was a piece of cake to deal with. Now you can tell me the best way to vent your anger." Dong Chao glared at Qin Haodong and said with a twisted face, "He hit me just now. We should disable his 2 arms. That's easy. I'll do it." After Wolf said that, he stalked to Qin Haodong. "The bad guy is coming, Papa, the bad guy is coming." The little fellow screamed, but with an excited face. She had no fear at all because she feared no bad guy as long as her father was here. "Gigolo boy, how dare you to mess up with Wolf's brothers? You're sick of living or what? Now mutilate your hands and I'll let you go today." Qin Haodong looked at him and smiled. "Tell the animal, your cousin, to divorce my friend, and give her at least 1 million as compensation. I will also let go of you today." Wolf turned stern and said, "Young boy, do you have any idea who you're talking to? Have you ever heard about Wolf when you're in Jiangnan City?" Qin Haodong said, "I've never heard of Wolf, but I do have ran into a few wild dogs." The little fellow pointed at Wolf's chest and yelled loudly, "Dog! Ugly dog! Young man! You're playing with death." Wolf waved his big hand and said to the ruffians behind him, "Brothers, let's teach the young man a hard lesson." "Yes." Those ruffians answered and rushed to Qin Haodong, waving the weapons in their hands. At the same time, someone else yelled loudly, "Stop! All of you! Or I'll kill you." "Who the foo** are you to talk to me like that?" asked Wolf in fury. He looked back and saw 10 more black sedans pulled over behind him. As the door opened, more than 20 men came out. The leading one was a bald man who was at least 1.90 m tall and looked murderous. He was Dafei, the chief warrior of Long Haisheng. Wolf was suddenly dumbfounded when he saw Dafei. He was a well-known ruffian in the city, but there was a great disparity between him and the underground manipulator, Long Haisheng. He didn't even have the guts to mess up Dafei, who was just standing before him. Brother Dafei, what brings you here?" Wolf lowered down his waist and went to Dafei with a flattering face. "You bastard, how dare you fight with Dr. Qin? Don't you know that he is an honorary guest of Brother Long?" After he said that, he slammed several times on Wolf's face heavily. Long Haisheng assigned most of his work to Dafei, so Dafei held a quite high position among those ruffians. See his beating Wolf, his fellows were so fearful that nobody dared to make a sound. Wolf's mouth had been beaten to bleed, but he dared not to show any dissatisfaction. He faced forward and asked, "Brother Dafei, who's Dr. Qin? I had no idea at all. Have you had your head kicked by a horse?" He's Dr. Qin, said Dafei as he slammed 2 more times on Wolf's face. Then Dafei walked to Qin Haodong respectfully. He bowed and apologized. Dr. Qin, I'm sorry I'm late. It's my fault that the bastard offended you. He had been completely impressed by Qin Haodong's medical skills and capacity, so the respect came from his heart. Qin Haodong asked lightly, it's fine. You know this little puppy. Puppy. Dafei held on for a second and soon he realized that Qin Haodong was talking about Wolf. He replied in a hurry, all people living on streets of Jiangnan City know Brother Long, so do this guy. But he was nearly a nobody, so we rarely meet each other. After that, he turned back and yelled to Wolf, come here and apologize to Dr. Qin. Wolf had been scared out of himself at this moment. Just like what Dafei had said, he might be well known in the circle of Jiangnan City, but in Long's eyes, he was a nobody. Being pissed off, Long Haisheng could easily destroy his social life in Jiangnan. Dr. Qin, I am sorry, I am really sorry. I was blind to have offended you. You should act like you're sorry when you're saying that. Now, on your knees. Dafei slammed on Wolf's back head again when he said that. Wolf's knees fell on the ground heavily. He had cursed all of Dong Chao's ancestors silently because he would never end up messing up with such a big badass if not for him. It's fine, just get up. Qin Haodong didn't want to push Wolf too much because the little fellow was with him. Thank you, Dr. Qin, thank you. Wolf picked himself up from the ground, but he kept bowing and dared now to straighten up. Dong Chao was completely dumbfounded as he watched all this from the other side. He wondered what was going on, and why his savior kneeled down to others. Qin Haodong pointed to Dong Chao and asked, is he one of your folks? Wolf nodded and said, yes, but a remote one. How come that he offended you? I have no idea. He wished he had no connection with Dong Chao now because he would no longer be able to stay in Jiangnan if he irritated Brother Long. Qin Haodong said, forget it. I don't blame you because you didn't know it. Now tell him to come over and speak to me. Do you hear it? Dr. Qin want you to come to talk, now get your asterisk here. Wolf turned back and shouted at Dong Chao. Dong Chao and he were remote relatives, and the Dongs was quite influential in Shanghai. However, Dong Chao's family was just an offshoot, not the immediate members of the Dongs, so he was not afraid of to offend him. Dong Chao was completely dumbfounded. He wanted to run away but he knew there was no way for him to escape. He wanted to go there, but he was fearful when seeing Dafei who looked fierce and murderous. Dafei waved his hand. Soon 2 of his fellows came over and lifted Dong Chao by his neck, bringing him directly to Qin Haodong. Before he could talk, Dafei kicked on his knee, so he fell down on the ground heavily. Qin Haodong looked at Dong Chao and said, I knew how you cheated Wang Jiani. I'll show you the right way now. You divorce her, sign all of those papers, and pay her 1 million as compensation. No, absolutely not. She's my legal wife. No one can force me to divorce her. Dong Chao yelled immediately. What the hell are you yelling about? Do you know who you're talking about? Dafei came forward and slammed heavily on Dong Chao's face. His face got bloody and swollen immediately, with blood at the mouth corner. Qin Haodong knew that this would not be easy. He turned back and let Wang Jiani hold the little fellow, then he said, just bring her home first. I'll go fetch her later. Wang Jiani nodded and said nothing more. She brought the little fellow to her home. He knew that there were certain ways to let Dong Chao give it up, but he didn't want the little fellow to see it, so he let Wang Jiani take Tang Tang away. He looked back and said to Dong Chao, divorce is your best choice, I think you should agree with it. No, I don't agree. Although Dong Chao's cheeks were swollen, he turned it down without any hesitation with nameless courage. It's fine if you don't agree, then let's talk about the second choice. Qin Haodong turned to Dafei and said, this trash has deceived and hurt many kind women. Do you know if any of your fellows know about castration? We should cut the thing off him in case he harms other people in the future. Yes, my fellows got talent, they knew about everything. Dafei yelled to his one skinny fellow, Little Five, come here. Greetings, Dr. Chin. The guy named Little Five greeted Chin Haodong respectfully. He had been taught the lesson at the amusement park that day and was totally impressed by Chin Haodong. Dafei introduced him, Dr. Chin. Little Five came from a family of vets, he was an expert in castrating pigs. Chin Haodong nodded and said, then cut him up, send him into the palace as a eunuch. Can you do that? Little Five patted on his chest proudly and answered, don't worry Dr. Chin. Human bodies are similar to that of animals. It will take no more than 3 minutes. As he said that, he took a leather fold out of the pocket behind his waist. There were all kinds of shiny knives inside, making people chill when seeing them. Not bad. Chin Haodong nodded with satisfaction and said to Dafei, it's not appropriate to do it on the street because other people may see it. Go find a car and tell Little Five to castrate in the car. Dong Chao immediately collapsed on the ground when seeing the shiny knives in Little Five's hand. He was no longer as tough as he used to be. Dafei waved his hand. 4 or 5 fellows of his came over and picked Dong Chao. Then they took him to an off-road vehicle on the roadside. Chin Haodong said to Little Five, make sure the cut is complete. Don't worry, Dr. Chin. I'll do it clear and cut, nothing left. Little Five walked to the off-road vehicle as he said that. His eyes were shining with excitement. It looked like he did come from a family of vets and he was very interested in the job. Dr. Chin, I agree to divorce. Have mercy. Soon after Little Five jumped on the off-road vehicle, Dong Chao screamed like a pig being slaughtered because he was sure that Chin Haodong would really send him into the palace as a eunuch. He didn't want to leave Wang Jiani, however, women came and left, only that thing stayed with him forever. He could never find any replacement if it was cut off. Chin Haodong sneered and waved at Dafei. Dafei immediately asked his fellows to bring Dong Chao over here. Now Dong Chao's legs were completely numb because of fear. He was dragged here by the other 2 people because he could barely walk. As he approached, a pungent smell of urine rose. He wet his pants. I'll have someone get the divorce agreement prepared now. You'll sign it soon. Chin Haodong stared at Dong Chao sharply. Now mark my words, this is your only chance. You'll lose the chance to sign if you dare to play with me this time. It's better to castrate you than to sign papers. Little Five said, Dr. Chin. What if I just cut him? This is too troublesome. Dong Chao was so scared that shivered and said, I'll sign it now. Chin Haodong said to Dafei, now find a lawyer and make a divorce agreement according to what I said. Let him transfer the money out now. 1 million, not a penny less. Don't worry, Dr. Chin. I'll finish it soon. Dafei called a lawyer immediately and let Dong Chao transfer 1 million to his account. 10 minutes later, a lawyer came in a hurry, suitcase under his arm. He put the divorce agreement in front of Dong Chao.